Hi, welcome to Framelines. This is Josh. If you're new to the channel, Framelines is a street photography based YouTube channel that Shane Taylor and I run together. We noticed we hadn't really done many kind of like street photography specific videos. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that are like, these are the top 8 mistakes that beginner street photographers make, or use these top 5 tips to get better street photos. We're not really sure it's that black and white, and we're by no means experts. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we haven't really been doing it all that long, but we thought we'd start a series of videos of street photography tips. Just jumping in with a quick word from our sponsor, MPB. Framelines is proud to be sponsored by MPB, the world's largest online platform for used photo and video kit. I've personally been using MPB for a number of years now. Their whole system is just a breeze, getting the camera picked up from you, sending it back to them, and then having the money transferred to your bank account. Yeah, it just takes any hassle out of buying and selling cameras, and I'd love using their website. Trade in for the kit you want, from camera bodies, lenses and accessories. They've got what you need for the work you want to create. So yeah, this is our first kind of street photography tips video. Later on in the video, I'm also going to be announcing this kind of like a submission Instagram hashtag. Not really a competition, but we kind of wanted to get more people involved and kind of showcase other people's work. So I'm going to be running through a kind of Instagram submission hashtag event. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, stay tuned to later on in the video. So London has opened back up again. It's super busy. Yeah, it's just great to see people out on the streets. So I just hit the streets with my Leica M10 and 35mm f2, classic kind of street photography setup, the rangefinder plus the 35 lens. So I just hit the streets and went for a walk and kind of tried to get back into it. It's pretty rusty, to be honest with you, but just great to be out, great to see people out in the streets, and really nice light as well. So the first tip really for me is minimize distractions. And what I mean by this is anything that can take your focus off looking at what's going on in the streets. So I like to turn off the back screen of the camera. I really try and avoid looking at any pictures I've taken while I'm out, just because if I'm looking down at the camera, I will miss something. This is something that Shane and I have noticed, we regularly meet up to talk about the channel or try and film some kind of B-roll together. Sometimes we will try and take photos together, but we just get in each other's way. We kind of shoulder barge each other and just kind of like try and take the exact same pictures, and it gets a bit awkward. So for me, and well, I'm speaking on behalf of Shane, I guess, as well, but we prefer to go out alone. I think that's the best way to kind of really focus on what you're doing. I want to try and avoid too many cliches, but really kind of get in the zone, I guess. Yeah, just any kind of distractions that will take you away from keeping your eyes on the street and kind of absorbing what's going on. You may quite easily miss like a gesture or just a general kind of moment that may not happen again. So yeah, I also try and avoid looking at my phone. That is quite hard because I'm super addicted to my phone, but yeah, screen off on the back of the camera, no looking at pictures, preferably doing it alone, and yeah, no checking the phone. Similarly to kind of keeping any distractions to a minimum, I don't like to think too much about where I'm going. What I mean by that is there have been times where I've tried to plan a very specific route, almost being like, right, I'll start here and I'll take the tube to here and I'll go up to here. There might be this happening here. When I'm thinking too much about where I'm trying to be and a timeline, it's quite often that I will end up missing things and maybe not getting very good pictures. So what I quite like to do is literally just pick a location in London, start there and just walk. And you will often find that, you know, you'll see something like maybe kind of a hoarding outside a shop, or you'll get distracted by somebody wearing something interesting. This instance in London, I was walking down Oxford Street. I saw a girl wearing a tinfoil hat, kind of walked behind her down Oxford Street for a bit, ended up at Marble Arch Station. Thought, oh, I'm here, so I might as well jump on the tube to Notting Hill. Went up and down Portobello Road a bit, ended up back at Notting Hill Gate tube station again, went back into London. So again, trying to avoid too many cliches, but I don't know how best to say this, but just kind of go with the flow, see where the street takes you, just kind of absorb what's going on, and you kind of may pick up things, may see interesting things along the way. That's what works best for me personally. I have really found the times where I've kind of overthought what I wanted to do, that really became a bit of a distraction, and I really didn't manage to get very many pictures I was happy with. So yeah, the light in London the last couple of weekends has been lovely. Up in town there are lots of new kind of brightly coloured hoardings in front of shops that have either closed down or are being refurbished. I find that kind of like a bright backdrop is a really nice way to make a picture pop or stand out or add a bit more kind of something a bit more dynamic to a frame. I like to try and seek out kind of matching colours and primary colours. There was this hoarding that's appeared on Oxford Street. It's kind of got all the primary colours in. It is a bit busy and I don't really like the text, but over a couple of days I kind of came back here for maybe half an hour, 20 minutes and tried to get something. Nothing really came together, but I think it's going to be there for quite a while, so I will keep going back and trying to get something. With kind of features like this that are temporary and will maybe be there for a couple of months, it can be quite fun to try and get something, see if a picture comes together. For me, it might be nice if you kind of have a selection of people all in matching colours appearing, so someone wearing red, someone wearing blue, someone wearing yellow, someone wearing green. Probably a bit ambitious, but you don't know unless you show up and try and do it. I also ended up at King's Cross just briefly. There's this like really nice red hoarding outside the back of the station. There's like a kind of arrow going through it. It makes for quite like a kind of graphic backdrop, and I managed to get a pigeon flying across it. Again, not really quite what I was after, but just a bit of fun. Stood there for maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour. I can't really stay in a location for too long. I do lose interest and get a bit bored. I usually find after maybe 15-20 minutes, people start to maybe notice you a bit more just because you've been there for a while holding a camera, staring at a wall. I usually stay at these locations for about 20-30 minutes and then maybe come back on another day or come back later in the day to see kind of where the light is. For these two spots, I made a bit of a note of when the light was hitting it, just if I was going to come back to the area. But yeah, that's another tip. Look for kind of bright colours, interesting backdrops, particularly kind of with shop hoardings because they do change quite often. So on these two trips, I did take the tube quite a bit. I love taking pictures on the tube. When I'm on the tube, I usually have my lens wide open and the camera at about 1/250th of a second. And then I also let the auto ISO kind of do its thing. The lighting does change a bit when you're on the platform versus on the carriage. It's usually much brighter on the actual train itself. But yeah, always good to have your camera ready, especially when you're on the tube because a nice dog might appear. The main thing really is just keeping at it. As you can see from this photo walk and the pictures I got along the way, nothing really hugely came together. I got a couple of pictures I'm semi-happy with, but nothing I'm like gonna put on my website really. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. Like sometimes you come away with nothing, sometimes you get a picture you're really happy with. The only way you're gonna get a good picture is by just showing up and cracking on with it. That's just the way it is. It was a blast just walking around and snapping away and getting back into taking street photos. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned our new street photography hashtag challenge initiative. What the hell? So we're going to try and do a few more regular street photography tips videos. In these videos, we'd like to highlight other people's work because I'm conscious that Shane and I have just been showing off pictures that we've taken over the last year or so we've been doing this channel. So our first challenge is going to be to take a picture with all three primary colors in, so red, yellow and blue. If you post that on Instagram, please use hashtag Framelines primary colors. That should be on the screen now. Look at that. Oh boy. Yeah, so please use hashtag Framelines primary colors and share your picture with all three primary colors in that you've taken on the street. And then at the end of our next street photography tips video, we will share a kind of slideshow of everyone's submissions, depending on how many people actually submit a photo, or if anybody does. Yeah, just thought that'd be a fun thing to do. Let me know what you think down below. That's our first street photography tips video. Thanks for sticking it out. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. Please remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time.